Hello, Grandmaster Ware with Mount Tabor Grand Lodge AF and AM coming to you again from our International Masonic Temple. I want to welcome you once again. Last video we talked about the preparing for greatness. So I want to continue along that vein. And also I mentioned earlier this year we were going to hit real hard on principles, because principles don't lie. And so we're going to do that for sure during this particular video. First, I want to again remind you of our book, Masonic Maturity Through Scripture. It is available on Amazon.com, Masonic Maturity Through Scripture. And if you are in the Masonic order, this book here works extremely well when it comes time to study and to teach. So this is your Blue Lodge Holy Bible Reference Guide, which this book talks about attitude, will, and character and spirit. This book gives you the bridge from your ritual to the Bible. You see, we use the Bible because it is by far the most truthful book ever published. It addresses all situations that we have or will encounter. So the Blue Lodge Holy Bible Reference Guide will take you from your ritual to Scripture and give you scriptural validation for what's in the ritual. And then, of course, again, we got to have an attitude and a will to want to learn. So anyway, we're going to talk about being fit for service this time. Here at Mount Tabor Grand Lodge, our mission is to create walking epistles. That's like a book within the Masonic order, and to elevate our members and anyone who will listen, really, to godly levels of peace, power, and prosperity. And we do that between correlated Bible and ritualistic Masonic teachings. So our aim is to raise up leaders and create multiplication of lodges and chapters where men and women can perfect their God-given skills and talents and pass them on to others in harmony and in love. So again, the title of this video is Fit for Service. Service is the contribution to the welfare of others. That's plain and simple, okay? There is a scripture that says that the first shall become last and the last shall become first. So we always want to put someone out there in front. Success is having peace, power, and prosperity, as I always say, health, wealth, and happiness. A successful person is never selfish. They are not selfish. They're always looking and seeking opportunities to share and serve others. You see, fear of loss or fear of any type of loss is not a part of their lives. So they are truly fit for service because the rewards for service are great. And when we speak of being fit for service, we automatically think of skill and knowledge, the skill and knowledge a person possesses. However, you can learn a skill, but you can't teach will. You can even expose people to knowledge, and they still don't have the attitude. So attitude and the will trump skill and knowledge every time. Philippians 2 verses 14 through 15 says, do all things without grumbling or disputing, that you may be blameless and innocent, children of God without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. Folks, the world right now is twisted and crooked, okay? People are wanting to say wrong is right, right is wrong, up is down, and down is up. So we have to have some guidelines and doctrines And it says here that you're not supposed to work, do anything, and grumble about it, and have all the time have disputes about it. You see, attitude towards self and others is what motivates you to use your skill, and it gives you a thirst for knowledge. And so, upon joining the Masonic Order, we all said we came to learn. Well, to learn what? What did we come to learn? The first thing we learned, or they tried to teach us, is that of service. The world promotes being served, but the real benefits come through giving, not getting. The best thing you can do for yourself, for your family, is to do something for somebody else. You've heard it called karma, okay? And so that's the way we're supposed to operate our lives. What is service? The Bible tells us that in 1 Peter 4:10, as each have received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied graces. Now that's a lot of meat on that bone, because here's what happens. I have a gift. You have a gift. Now, I can use my gift, but I might be missing something, and you might have what I'm missing. So you serve me. But by the same token, somebody else can have what you're missing. So they serve you. And so that's the way it all works. A while back, I ran into that phrase that Mother Teresa said, and that is, the world is messed up because we don't realize we belong to one another. We actually need one another. So service is not a nice to do. It's not a nice thing to do. It is a must if you intend, if you want to be successful. You see, the action of helping and doing for someone else a good turn, favor, or kindness, helping hand, or assisting them, those are the things that we should be willing to do for our fellow man. And oftentimes service is not physical. It's not a tangible thing. It is an intangible part of our economy, as opposed to goods and service, goods and monies that we can touch and feel and so forth. So what you want to do is try and find a hole and fill it. Find a need and fill it. Find somebody that needs something and do something for them. We talk about service, so it basically can be broken down into three sections. We're talking business, we're talking social, and we're talking personal. Again, Proverbs 11:25 says, whoever brings blessing will be enriched, and he who waters will himself be watered. So the big thing to take away from all of this is that everyone at birth is equipped for service. But the question is, are you equipped for service? Or has the world beaten you down and messed up your attitude and killed your will to provide service for others? You see, the impact of service as a volunteer engaging in community service can vastly widen your perspective and your outlook on life. So being in a place or being placed in a situation that might be unfamiliar or uncomfortable to you, that's where you grow. That is exactly where you grow, and you cultivate a sense of how the world operates. And hey, you might even identify your seed of greatness. You see, comfort will kill you. Comfort kills attitude and will. So, you want to serve others. In what way? Well, Galatians 6:9 lets us know that we should never grow weary in doing good, for in due seasons we will reap if we do not give up. So when I say serve others, if so, what type of service are you giving? you need to identify your God-given gifts. And then you find where that gift is needed, where it can be used, where it can be of most use. Okay? How much is your service worth? Well, sometimes you get to put a dollar amount on it, or get to put a figure on it, or a recompense on it, and other times you just give it. Okay? Because it says in Proverbs 10:4, a slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. Now, what that means to me is, when we go back to the who do you rely on to pay you for your service, Proverbs 14:23 says, in all labor there's profit. So when I ask you how much is your service worth, in all labor there's profit. So at some point in time, you have to employ faith and belief in the Almighty, in your Creator, and understand and accept the fact that He will make sure you get paid, because in all labor there is profit. So Luke 6:38 says, give and it will be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Now that's a principle, that is a scripture, that is a truism, and in fact, it will be put in your lap. For with the measure that you use it, it will be measured back to you. So you got to have faith in something. And I submit to you, if I have faith only in me, I'm in trouble. And so are you. Because then I'm going to only look out for me. And therein lies the problem in the world today. Everybody is talking about me, myself, and I. Now, there are three things that will hinder your fitness for service. The first of which is ego, edging God out, me, myself, and I. Proverbs 16:18 addresses that. It says, pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So you can feel like all grandiose about you, about what you've accomplished. You've amassed a house and cars and monies, and you better than everybody else or all these people over here. But trust me with this, that everything on God's green earth is temporary, including happiness. Ecclesiastes 4:4, King Solomon says, then I saw that all toil and all skill in work comes from a man's envy of his neighbor. So now, that's telling us to focus in on what we can do and leave John alone, leave the Smiths alone. Don't worry about what they're doing. Worry about what we are to do, because we were given a gift. We were given talents for a purpose. And when we have tunnel vision on utilizing our gift, then everything, the universe works best for us. Solomon also goes on to say this is vanity and striving after wind. I got a little gray hair, so I've been brave enough to spit out a window driving down the street. That's not a good thing to do. Okay? You just can't capitalize on it. In fact, it's just going to come back and hit you in the face. So envy and vanity just comes back and slaps you in the face. And envy and vanity speaks about the heart of the man, why you do what you do. The second hindrance is vanity, and this stems from envy. Again, Solomon says in 1:14, chapter 1, verse 14, I have seen everything that is done under the sun. And behold, all is vanity and is striving after wind. Now he's telling us the same thing in a different chapter, different scripture. But he's seen everything done under the sun. You know, a lot of people want to tell you, well, things are different. Times have changed. The attitude and the will of people haven't changed. Those attitudes and wills that says me, myself, and I have been here forever and a day. Now, we might have more people saying it, acting it out, but the attitude and the will, the lack of a will to help others, to serve others, has always been here. Ecclesiastes 2 and 11. Then I considered all that my hands had done, and the toil I had expended in doing it. And behold, all was vanity and striving after wind, and there was nothing to be gained under the sun. So if you really want to elevate yourself, if you really want to want increase in your life, you want peace in your life, you want power in your life, help somebody else get it. That's the only way to do it. Now, I keep making reference to Ecclesiastes because, of course, in the Masonic order, Solomon is king. In chapter 4, verse 4, it says it again. Then I saw all toil and all skill in work come from a man's envy of his neighbor. This is also vanity and striving after wind. Now, he keeps repeating this. And as I tell my members, in the lodge members, spaced repetition is good for us. The more we hear it, the more chance we have of getting it into our spirit. Now, Romans 15:1 says, we who are strong have an obligation to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves. Only what you've done for others matter. Take that home. That is a principle. Only what you've done for others matter. What you've done for your community, your neighbor, your friend, okay, your race of people. Only what you've done for others matters. The third hindrance is fear. And that's two types, fear of failure and fear of people. And I have no idea why people grasp these two fears. Because first of all, fear of failing. Anytime you don't achieve something, if you think about it right, if you have the right attitude, you learned something. Even if it's learning what not to do, what didn't work, you've learned something. So every failing is a lesson that has been learned. So you got to change your attitude on that. Fear of people, for what? If God is on your side, who should you fear? Joshua 1:9 says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Now, if the Maker is with you, why should you fear anything? If you went out here and bought you a new Mercedes, and Mercedes says, wherever you go, we will come to you and fix whatever happens, you're going to hit the highway. You're not going to worry about how many miles you put on it. Psalms 23:4 says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. And we've heard that for ages. And I want you to focus in on one part of it, the shadow of death, which simply means it ain't real. But our attitude, our mind convinces us that false is true. That fear is real, and it's not. Because again, everything is temporary. If you're in the valley of the shadow of death, you see the shadow, keep walking, keep moving. As Peter said, I press toward the mark, which means if you're in the middle of a bunch of crap, keep moving. You will get out of it. 2 Timothy 1:7, for God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. Hold on to that. That was your gift. That was a gift. Okay? You have a specific gift in which you are to serve, but that was another gift. And Philippians 2:4 says, let each of us look not only to our own interests, but also to the interests of others. And Mother Teresa, as I said earlier, said we all belong to one another. So, folks, let's get back to the basics, okay? And really we have to make ourselves fit for service if we are going to be successful. If we're going to become great, we have to. So I thank you very much. If you will take a look at our About section on this YouTube channel, and it will tell you how to get in touch with us, how to donate, it talks about our books and so forth. So support us, help us continue to move forward, and we will continue to bring you some information to help you elevate yourself for the good of your family, your community, your church, your lodge, and your chapters. I thank you very much.